The Acolyte is real, and we now have a trailer. But what's more, Leslye Headland has all kinds of comments that we are going to dig into. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell. Hey, bright suns to you, Vash Sky.
And bright suns to you,
Thank you.
Jonas.
Did you hit the refresher before we started?
I think what? Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, well, refresher.
Well, if you're not sure,
yeah, okay.
we'll at this one a little bit quicker than usual, just so you can make sure you get over there. Don't drink too much blue milk, or obviously you're going to have to have a refresher break in the middle of the video. What we're talking about today, though, is we're not talking about Star Wars at theme parks. We're talking about Star Wars on a different, very expensive place that Disney. They only charge you a few dollars a month, but also they're not making any money off of it. Star Wars: The Acolyte creator Leslye Headland talks the unique perspective of her upcoming series. The writer-producer says the series, set 100 years before The Phantom Menace, oh my, only 100 years, will have a Rashomon-like quality to its storytelling. I think that probably just means that it'll be multiple people's perspectives, but that's the cool way of saying that. This by Brian Davids. Vash, let me hand over the reins to you. Can you tell us what's going on here?
Well, Leslye Headland. Oh, she's really something. She really does. You know, she puts out the quotes there that people like to share.
Leslye Headland,
like
the former assistant to Harvey Weinstein.
That Leslye Headland, that is for sure. She is running herd on this attraction right here. Not attraction, but well, attraction for a whole different set of reasons. But no, this show right here, The Acolyte, which by the way is real and is coming out. And the trailer has just debuted. Which, by the way, if you look at the like-dislike ratio on that, it's a little questionable right there. Maybe it doesn't have everybody necessarily excited for this project right here. But Leslye Headland is very excited to tell us all about it. That is for sure. This article kind of goes in, talks about how, let's see right here, if I can get to something here. Yes, quote, Russian doll co-creator Headland's first job as a writer was on FX's short-lived cult classic series Terriers, 2010, and her first produced TV script, quote, Manifest Destiny, happened to be directed by Star Wars: The Last Jedi filmmaker Rian Johnson. Headland was not only inspired by Johnson's work, but also his demeanor on set. Quote, I love Rian. He was the first director I ever watched work. So getting to see him work on the shows was, oh my God, it was a dream, Headland recalls. He was so kind and so quiet, and yet he was so clear about what he wanted. He never seemed stressed out, and I wish I was more like him. He's the patron saint of calm directors.
Well, okay. Well, that's going to be interesting to dissect there. I'm going to say something that our audience might not like. I think Rian Johnson is a good director, but he probably was not the right fit for my taste on The Last Jedi. I think there's probably going to be some people in the comments who might agree with the idea that Rian Johnson was overall not a great fit for The Last Jedi. That being said, I liked about 50% of that movie, and I reserve judgment on which 50% of that movie I liked. I think Rian Johnson is actually a good director. He directed, I think, one of the most complicated, nuanced episodes of Breaking Bad, for instance. But he's also very controversial because of that subverting expectations thing that he often is known for, which is also part of the 50% of Last Jedi that I'm not really a fan of. That's a little bit worrisome that they would put that foot forward, though. I would say that Lucasfilm probably has not learned their lesson if they're putting that name in particular forward as the person that they're emulating here.
I would not have brought up Rian Johnson. That is for sure. If you're talking about hyping up your show for people to watch, I wouldn't include Rian Johnson in that. That is for sure. He's just such a controversial figure around these parts right here. Now look, Rian Johnson, I mean, he could have done great with a Star Wars story that was more removed from the Skywalker saga, but when you deal with those classic iconic characters and you're talking about subverting expectations, right, over and over and over again with those legendary people right there, well, you might have a bad time. Unfortunately, that's kind of what happened and kind of derailed, obviously, the sequel trilogy for I don't know. I mean, maybe some people have said that Rise of Skywalker is better or worse. I don't know. But again, though, Rian Johnson, I wouldn't necessarily say that. Below, during a recent conversation with THR, Headland, who directed Star Wars The Acolyte's first 2 episodes that debut on June 4th, also explains why it was important to have a writer on staff who was new to Star Wars. Writers note Stenberg, I believe that's Amanda Stenberg, goes by both she, her, and they, them pronouns. So, Jonas, why don't you be on your best behavior right here? You have
yeah. I will respect all of those pronouns, I suppose.
yes. It's this is very, very interesting right here. Let me see here. I'm gonna go ahead and try to find something.
It is a bit ironic because I do believe that Amanda Stenberg is playing twins in this show, so there might in fact be a case for using the plural form of these pronouns. I don't know.
Right. So the question is, Andor creator Tony Gilroy proved that you don't necessarily have to be a lifelong Star Wars fan to be a great Star Wars storyteller. So I thought you made a wise choice by having a varied writer's room with fans of different eras and then someone who will never have flocked to the series at all. Headland says, yeah, I just thought it would be good to have the perspective of a person that had literally never seen Star Wars until she was in the room. And she said to me, quote, why do you want me in this room? I've never seen Star Wars. I have no idea. I think there's a dog in it, but I don't know anything. And I was like,
I think there's a dog in it.
Yes. Maybe that's Chewbacca. I have no idea what she's talking about right there. Quote, first of all, you're an incredible writer, but that's why I want you here. I want you to be questioning narrative. I don't want myself, who's a lifelong fan, to be just relying on particular references in order to create emotional beats. I want those emotional beats to be earned and checked by someone that isn't super familiar with it.
Oh my. See, this is the point at which I think they're marketing. I doubt on some level here, I doubt that Leslye Headland is actually a Star Wars fan. And that's not just because she's a woman or things like that. I know plenty of female Star Wars fans. I just feel like this is the area where she has struggled a little bit to articulate what is great about Star Wars or what's great about George Lucas. She's been so all over the map that I don't know that she actually likes Star Wars. And at this point, she should have been coached on most of those things. She's had years to get this right. So I'm going to say that the Rian Johnson comment paired with the I do definitely know Star Wars. Just trust me, guys. I know Star Wars.
Yes.
This is not the best way to present this story. It is a good way to present it in the Hollywood Reporter. I don't know that it's the best way to connect with fans.
No, not at all. And I love how she always says, she's like, oh, I was the biggest fan growing up. And so there's this red carpet interview where the interviewer asks, oh, well, what was your favorite Star Wars movie? And she's like, oh, I don't have a favorite Star Wars movie. I want to just be in the universe. And it's like, I don't know about that comment. I'm not quite sure. Sound a little Kathleen Kennedy in terms of that. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy doesn't really understand or know Star Wars. You ask her a specific question on anything, she won't give you necessarily a straight answer. Now, if you ask him Foggy about something about the universe, he'll give you a very nuanced and very specific answer. That's kind of the difference between people who understand the universe and people who don't. But speaking of who doesn't understand the universe, this answer goes on. And it was really funny because she finally watched the original trilogy over that Christmas. Again, she's going to be working on this project, and she's never seen Star Wars. She's seeing Star Wars for the first time before this project. She watched the prequels too, but she kept texting me about the original trilogy and was like, Luke and Vader are all those things that we've known forever. Mind-blowing, all of that. She was like, Luke and Leia are brother and sister? What the F? She was writing all these things to me, and I just thought it was so funny. So she educated herself in order to be in the room, but it was really funny to have somebody like that to help collaborate. My question is, look, I understand broadening the audience, right? And creating something that necessarily you don't have to be a Star Wars fan in order to fall in love with it. However, that being said, if you're taking the Star Wars universe and adapting something from it, I mean, you got to start from a place of fandom, I would think, because this is for the fans who have kept this alive for so long. I would think. Am I just off base here, Jonas?
No, no, I think you're correct, and this is probably where they have struggled the most at current day Lucasfilm, in not connecting with fans. Of course, we have the recent statements from George Lucas about how Bob Iger is doing a great job as the leader of the company, and he trusts him with Star Wars. I think most fans would say now that maybe George Lucas hasn't watched much recent stuff. I think that's the most kind thing that I can say there. Maybe George Lucas does not have time to sit down and watch all 8 episodes of Ahsoka, or maybe it was 6. I don't know. I forget. They kind of bleed together. Or maybe he did not watch the Mandalorian doing paintball on the beach. It's fallen so far from these great and wonderful statements about storytelling and having this good versus evil. I don't think it's the same thing that George Lucas was describing, or that the marketers clearly understood back in the late 70s and early 80s.
Right. I don't think so either. I mean, the Hollywood Reporter article actually goes on with comments from Leslye Headland talking about, well, this isn't really a story about good and evil. This is about power and who's, right to wield it or whatever. And it's just like, this is really far from the tenets of Star Wars, particularly the Jedi, who are, these kind of embodiments of maybe righteous or good people. So to take that away and to kind of expand this out in this way, I don't know. It's got a lot of fans on edge right here. But Leslye Headland's decision process is very interesting as well. This is from Entertainment Weekly right here. What is it? Leslye Headland says, I just wanted to see X-23 with a lightsaber in their hand. This has to happen. So when casting for this, that was the explanation that she provided there for Daphne King.
Well, and that's fine. I have nothing against this actress in particular. She was in Logan, and it's very difficult to do heavy work as a child actor or actress. Obviously, Amanda Stenberg. Sorry, I think I added an extra L in there to a name that has an extra L in it already. I think the focus on child actors in particular here gives me a little bit of concern, especially considering some of the comments that have come to light about when she started talking to Miss Stenberg here. This whole situation just strikes me as unusual and odd, and especially knowing where Leslye Headland got her start in Hollywood, the whole thing just kind of makes me uncomfortable.
I will agree. Also, we know that there's an intimacy coordinator that was on set and so forth, and we're probably going to get something that's never been necessarily associated with Star Wars, at least in the explicit sense before, at least not to this extent. So that's going to be interesting, but she describes this as Frozen meets Kill Bill. That was the original pitch, and how Kathleen Kennedy, she just loved it. And we know about Kathleen Kennedy as she revealed the Star Wars Celebration recently. She was saying that my qualifications for finding somebody to actually to take their work and actually produce it is, what do they have to say? That was her qualifying method of what projects actually got approved and from which creators. So apparently she's had something to say about a lot of this. She talks about her influences of other art forms, other what is it, medium in television and I should say shows and movies and so forth, and how she wants to incorporate a lot of that in here. I don't know. I this is I'm not quite sure about this series, especially because I thought the Sith hadn't made themselves known to the Jedi.
Right, there's some comments in the prequel trilogy about how they haven't been around for 1,000 years, which of course I'm now seeing a lot of mental gymnastics on why it's actually okay, and maybe they weren't the Sith, maybe there was this other thing. So I don't know. There may be some reason. It may be good, it may be bad. I personally am not looking forward to the Acolyte, although I'm hearing from Pro that we will be reviewing that show. So we'll be looking forward to those on Wednesday mornings here on That Park Place, or maybe just on the Pro channel. I don't know where those will be coming. So subscribe over there, or maybe over here if you're interested in what I'm thinking is probably going to be some suffering. If it gets dirty, I'm probably not going to continue on with it. That being said, though, what are your thoughts about this interview with Leslye Headland? Do you think that this show has a chance of being good? Do you think that especially considering George Lucas's recent comments, that we just need to give up on Star Wars and move on to something else? Because I'm sure there's something good out there. It's probably coming out of Japan. Of course, like this video if you like this video, and consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.